Hey everyone, welcome to our product launch event. My name is Justin Wheeler, co-founder and CEO here at Funraise. Before we begin, a quick trigger warning. Today, we're going to be talking about events. Yes, events, one of the most stressful nights in a nonprofit professional's life. You know what I mean. The room's filling up, someone can't find their table, a sponsor's logo is missing from the slides, the auction is closing, and your top bidder wants to change their payment method right away. The MC is not sticking to their script, and somehow the person who knows where the extra bid paddles are has completely disappeared. We know that stress all too well because we've lived it. I personally MC events and run paddle races at galas, so I've experienced the moment from the stage. When the energy in the room is high, the mission is front and center, and an organization is counting on dozens of moving pieces to come together at exactly the right time. When it works, it can feel like magic. But behind that magic, we know there are months of planning. A small army of staff and volunteers, and often far too many spreadsheets, disconnected systems, and manual processes. That's why I'm excited about what we're launching today, Funraise's new suite of event tools. We've built these features to make nonprofit events easier to plan, manage, and execute. From the work that happens before the doors even open, to the fundraising activity in the room, and the follow-up that happens afterward. The goal is simple: to dissolve the stress surrounding events by organizing each part of the workflow into clear, actionable interfaces. Because your team should be focused on your guests, your mission, and the moment, not hunting through spreadsheets or trying to remember which system contains the information you need. So why event tools and why now? Because events remain one of the most powerful things a nonprofit can do. They generate revenue, of course. For many organizations, a single event represents a meaningful portion of the annual fundraising plan. But events do something equally important. They create relationships. An event can turn someone who has heard of your organization into someone who understands your mission. It can turn first-time guests into a donor into an advocate, and an advocate into someone who stays connected to your work for many years to come. That combination, relationships and revenue, is what makes events so important. They don't simply fund the mission. At their best, they expand the community around it. Since 2010, I've had the privilege of leading the Fund a Need Appeal at Liberty North Korea's annual gala. Together, these events have raised millions of dollars. But what stays with me the most is what the generosity has made possible. The funding helped Liberty in North Korea bring more than 1,300 North Korean refugees to safety through a modern-day underground railroad. It transformed the lives of the people we served, while also changing the course of our mission by connecting us with extremely generous supporters, many of whom remain deeply invested in the work today. That experience stayed with me because it made the impact tangible. What happened in that room didn't remain in the room. It became programs, services, opportunities, and real change. And that's the standard we kept in mind while building these tools. A nonprofit event is not just a date on the calendar. It's a critical moment in an organization's relationship with its supporters, and sometimes a pivotal moment in the life of its mission. We want the technology supporting that moment to feel organized, intuitive, and most importantly, dependable. We want nonprofit teams to walk into event night feeling prepared and in control. And when the inevitable surprise happens, because we all know there's always going to be a surprise, we want the tools to help your team respond quickly and keep moving. Now, we're not only excited about these new features, we're just as excited about how we built them. Funraise's team partnered directly with our customers for many months and built side by side with the people who plan, manage, and execute nonprofit events every single day. Their experiences shaped the workflows, the interfaces, and the decisions behind this entire feature suite. To tell you more about that process and why these event tools are so special, I'd like to introduce you to my fellow co-founder and Funraise's Chief Technology Officer, Jason Swinski. Jason, take it away.
Thanks, Justin. Hi, everyone. I'm Jason, a founder and head of R&D here at Funraise. Now, before we get into an awesome product demo, I just want to quickly explain why this product release is very different than the ones we've done before. So let me begin with a little honesty. Until now, running live events was not one of our strengths. We sold tickets, while much of the event itself was left to other software. We at Funraise operated under a misapprehension. Given the high-stakes complexity of running live events, we believed that functionality was best handled by purpose-built software and that our customers preferred those particular tools. We were wrong on all counts. And so when we set out to improve our events module, we were not simply adding the few final features to an events product. We were building most of one. Now, AI has made it dramatically faster and cheaper to produce software, and we use frontier models throughout engineering, and we are undeniably faster because of them. But speed is not judgment. AI can't decide which questions are worth asking or which nuances matter the most when building a truly great tool. The analogy that I keep returning to is Formula One. You don't design a car in isolation and introduce it to the driver on race day. The engineers must understand the machine, and the driver understands the track. They feel what no specification can describe and expose assumptions that no simulator can test. Our customers are those drivers. They understand the last-minute seating change, the missing guest information, the pledge that remains after everyone has gone home. So, organizations with very different events met with our team every week. Our engineers heard that nuance firsthand. We also began running complete simulated events inside of Funraise, because individual features can pass every test and still fail as an experience. A check-in screen may look great on a designer's canvas. The real question is whether it remains excellent when the line is growing and the program starts in 4 minutes. So that changed our standard. We stopped asking only, does this work? And we began asking, how does it feel to use? Does it reduce pressure or does it add to it? Could software built for one of the most stressful nights of the year actually make that night feel almost joyful? This is how we intend to build Funraise from here on out. We'll use new technology to move faster, but we'll pair that speed with intention, real customer expertise, and the discipline to test what we've built under real-world conditions. Because innovation is not how quickly you ship. It's whether your customers' work becomes easier. Now, here's Funraise co-founder and Chief Product Officer Tony Sasso to show you what we've built.
Hello, my name is Tony, and I'm a co-founder here at Funraise. In my previous life as a nonprofit creative director, I've planned and managed countless events, from supporter summits to galas. I know how hard this work can be, and that is why I'm so excited to share one of Funraise's most powerful and hopefully impactful products to date. As you likely know, Funraise is an all-in-one fundraising platform. From donation forms to wealth screening, we do it all. For our product walkthrough today, we're going to run through an entire event from start to finish and explore Funraise's new tools in real time. Let's start by diving into the events section. Here in events is where we can create and manage all our organization's events. We'll begin by creating a new event. This will be our 2026 gala, and I'll fill out some basic details about our event. After creating the event, we'll land on the event manager, where we'll configure everything about this event, including tickets, tables, paddle raises, and more. Now, let's create our first tickets. For our event, we'll have a general admission ticket and a table sponsor ticket. We'll create our general admission ticket first. We'll fill out some basic details, including the ticket name, description, and available quantity. For the ticket price, this will be a paid ticket at $100. Since this ticket has a fair market value of $25 for the delicious meal we'll be providing, we'll enter $75 for the tax-deductible amount. This is all that's needed to ensure your guests receive an accurate donation receipt with their ticket purchase. We'll also choose to create a new giving form, which is the form where these tickets will be hosted. We'll get to see this form in action in just a moment. After the ticket is created, we can click in to manage more details if needed. When editing a ticket, we can require our guests to enter contact details when purchasing a ticket, or choose to make this information optional. Tickets can also have custom questions. For example, you might want to ask your guest meal preference or their t-shirt size. Each organization has their own strategy for what information actually should be required during a ticket purchase. And as we'll see later, we've created a progressive information capture tool. So whether or not your guests provide this information up front during a ticket purchase, you'll still be able to gather it later. Next, let's create a table sponsor ticket. We'll just duplicate our previous ticket and make a few edits. We'll change the ticket name and description, and because this is a table sponsorship ticket that will include 10 seats, we'll set the ticket bundle to include 10 registrations. Now, when a table sponsorship ticket is purchased, 10 registrations will be created automatically. Now we have our 2 tickets, linked to our event ticket form. Before we move on from tickets, let's take a quick look at promo codes. Promo codes can be created for any event, allowing you to provide custom discount codes to your volunteers or special guests. You can set a custom percentage or flat rate discount, usage limits, and even control which tickets the codes can apply to. Promo codes are entirely optional and very flexible feature. Now that we have our tickets created, let's take a look at our public event page where our guest will learn about the event and actually purchase these tickets. This is a Funraise campaign site. We could spend a whole day covering all the capabilities of the Funraise campaign site editor. For today, we're just looking at the published site that has already been created to host our event details and ticket form. It's good to mention here that Funraise donation and ticket forms are site agnostic, which means you can choose to embed your ticket forms on your own website. Or, as most organizations do, you can use a Funraise campaign site like this. Now, let's pretend we're a guest and purchase our tickets. We can select the tickets we'd like. In this example, I'll be joining with my partner, so I'll grab 2 general admission tickets. I'll be able to enter my details for myself and my partner, or I can choose to skip these details so I can check out quickly. But don't worry, even if these details are not required on the form, the organization will be able to gather this information from me later if needed. Once I complete my payment details, I'll receive an email with my tickets and my payment details. Next, let's pretend I'm a sponsor, and I need to purchase a table sponsorship. I can go through the same form, select a single table sponsor ticket. This ticket includes 10 registrations, and as a sponsor, it's unlikely that I'll have all my guest information available at the time of purchase. And let's be honest, I'm a VIP sponsor, so I can't be troubled with these details. So I can skip entering guest information and move quickly to checkout. Okay, now that we have a few guests registered, let's take a look back in the platform to see how we can manage our attendee roster. The new attendee list allows us to keep track of how many guests have actually registered for our event. Here, we'll have an intuitive search bar and quick filters to search or segment our attendees. We can easily find specific guests to edit their contact information or preferences on the fly. We've also created a helpful review tool that highlights issues and alerts your team when guests are missing important information. You'll always be alerted if a guest is missing contact information like name, email, or phone, and you can optionally also be alerted for missing address details or when a guest doesn't have a payment method on file. For example, here we can see that our table sponsor has 10 guests joining at their table, but we don't yet have all the important information for each guest. It's good to know here that we could have certainly force required this information to be collected on the ticket form. But if you've run events before, you know that requiring a sponsor to fill in their guest information up front is just not going to happen. As well, your team might be entering registrations in the back end. Missing guest data is such a common pain point for event managers, and that's why we've built this new custom data review and progressive capture tool. Of course, knowing that you're missing important guest information is just half the battle. Traditionally, the hard part was gathering this information from hundreds of guest or VIP sponsors. So, we've made it easy to send an email to each guest with a link to their own guest portal, where they can enter any missing information. And without having to log in or remember any password, guests can access their event portal with a magic link and fill out their missing information. In the case of our table sponsor, with many guests, the sponsor will receive a link that shows all of their guests in one place, and the sponsor can choose to fill out their table guest information here, or choose to forward this step on to each of their guests. As guests provide their information, your missing information review list clears and you can move on to other important tasks. It's that simple. A single email now replaces hours it traditionally took to gather your missing guest information. All right, now that we've sold some tickets and confirmed guest information is in order, let's jump to the next new feature from Funraise, table management. If you've ever designed a seating chart for an event, you know how challenging this seemingly simple task can be. Whether it's donors that don't get along, last-minute changes, or a board member who decided to invite 12 guests to a 10-person table. Let's look and see how Funraise has solved this. Each event has its own table manager, where you can assign your guests to tables with a drag-and-drop experience. Event spaces generally have sections, so we can start by creating a section and assigning a number of tables to that section. For our event, we'll just have one section called Main Floor, and we'll have 10 tables with 10 seats each. Now we can see each table, the table's availability, and the guests that are ready to be assigned. You can click and drag any individual to a table, or you can select an entire party and assign them to the table together. you can quickly see which tables have capacity and which tables are getting overbooked. We've added a lot of really helpful features to the table manager as well, including the ability to add notes to tables, alerts when you've seated guests from a single party at different tables, and even alerts when you've seated guests who don't get along at the same table. Of course, once your guests are assigned, you can export your table list to share it with your vendor or the team creating your table cards. Table management in Funraise is now a joy because the interface is designed to remove friction from the process. You can focus on creating human connections that will drive great conversations and impact at your event. So far, we've covered event setup, ticketing, guest management, and table assignments, all tasks that happen before an event. But of course, the most important part of your event is the night of, and this is where we've made even more powerful updates. First up, you'll need to check in your guests. Here, you're seeing the new guest check-in interface. Designed to ensure your welcome table is a smooth process for both your guest and your team. This new interface is accessed from the Funraise app in the new section for events. Just like in Platform, you can select your current event and begin checking in guests. The event check-in screen provides an overall check-in progress bar and guest count, so you know if you're ready to start your event or if cocktail hours should last a bit longer to accommodate your fashionably late guests. To check in a guest, you'll be able to search guest names or scan their QR code to pull up the guest record. The new guest check-in screen allows you to easily check in guests with a click, but it offers so much more than that. During check-in, you can now confirm each guest's details, like their contact information, paddle number, table assignment, and payment methods. Another major new improvement to the check-in flow allows you to capture and store a payment method for each guest. And even better, we've introduced Tap to Pay in the Funraise app, so you can simply tap a card on your phone to store a payment method or run a charge. Once your guests are checked in and seated, your program can begin. No matter how you structure your program, the core goal is always raising funds. The next two features are all about giving. First up, you're looking at Funraise's new live display, a customizable event progress bar designed for the big screen. The live display will automatically update with new donations, and you can configure the display based on your strategy. You can host a display with all the bells and whistles, including your logo, a QR code that links to your donation form, a progress bar, and a rolling feed of new donations. Or you can keep it classy by just displaying the amount you've raised so far. Next up, if you want to fill your progress bar, you're going to have to ask for donations. And that's what our next new feature is all about. We're excited to announce a fully featured, yet surprisingly simple Fund and Need Paddle Raise Manager. Back in Funraise and our event settings, we can access our paddle raise tools. Here, we can add custom giving levels and configure our paddle raise settings per event. As you can see here, we have 3 example giving levels already created for our paddle raise. This interface allows us to enter and manage pledges during event and serves as a central place to review commitments after the event. Here's how it works. While your MC is auctioning giving levels from stage, your generous donors all around the room will be raising their paddles to pledge specific giving levels. And your event team, spread throughout the room, can use the Funraise mobile app on their device to enter paddle numbers and record pledges in real time. In the Funraise app, your event team can enter paddle raise mode, select a giving level, and simply enter a paddle number. When a new pledge is recorded, it appears on the live display automatically. Speaking of the live display, we've connected your paddle raise giving levels to the live display. So while you're running a Fund and Need portion for the event, you can select dynamic screens to show the current giving level and highlight the donors who've pledged at those giving levels. It's the same live display screen that you saw earlier, just with easy controls to toggle between pre-built giving level slides. We've also added additional controls to mitigate some of the more common pain points for paddle raises, including optionally requiring pledges to be approved before they hit the live display. Paddle raises, which are probably the most stressful 15 minutes of your entire year, are now solved with a powerful, flexible, and intuitive interface. So far, we've covered pre-event setup like tickets and guest management, and we've covered night of workflows like check-in and paddle raises. Let's transition to see how Funraise has solved some workflows that happen after your event. First, let's start by collecting on all of the pledges we've received during our event's paddle raise. It's good to start with the fact that as soon as a paddle raise pledge is created, the donor will receive an email confirmation automatically. The pledge confirmation email will have an easy link to where the donor can make their donation. Most donors will follow up on their pledge with this email, but that's not your only tool. Whether or not the donor makes their donation from the pledge confirmation email, you'll always have a full view of all commitments, their statuses, and options to get them paid. Here's how it works. When a pledge is created at your event, Funraise is creating a commitment record behind the scenes. Commitments are already a core feature of Funraise. We've just seamlessly connected commitments to event pledges. You can take action on commitments to send the donor a link to where they can make their payment, or even better, in just a few clicks, you can charge the remaining amount directly to a payment method on file. From paddle raised to payment received, we've got you covered, ensuring that no pledge falls through the cracks. In fact, when it comes to events, data falling through the cracks is such a critical issue that we've got a whole other feature just for that. One of the most common challenges right after your event is trying to understand what just happened. How much was raised through ticket sales, direct giving the night of, auction bid payments, and who still needs to be followed up with to fulfill their pledge. With Funraise's intelligence tools, we can see all this data in one place. This is a Funraise intelligence dashboard. While Funraise's intelligence features, like custom reports and data dashboards, are not new, they have become even more powerful with all this event data. Here, we're looking at an event revenue report in Funraise. We can quickly see overall totals and how much we've raised through various channels, including ticket sales, auction payments, direct donations, and remaining pledges. And on an individual level, we can also view a list of our guests and see in one report each guest's ticket sales, direct giving, auction payments. You can also review event pledges to track progress of fulfillment. The ability to see your team's event success from start to finish in a holistic view is a direct result of how we've designed these new event tools. If you've ever run events before, this might all look like magic, but it's not. It's the hard work of both Funraise's team and the generous organizations who have partnered with us to design and build these incredible products. What we saw today is just a glimpse into what's new. We have certainly not covered everything. We're excited to continue this conversation and show you more of what's possible. Current customers, get ready. Some of these features are already in your accounts, and more will be rolling out in the following weeks. With that, let's pass it back over to Funraise CEO, Justin Wheeler.
Thanks, Tony. And thank you all so much for joining us today. You've just seen a lot of new features and capabilities, but ultimately, this work isn't about features. It's about what those features make possible for your mission. The purpose of these tools is to give nonprofit teams less operational stress and more capacity to focus on the people in the room, the relationships they're building, and the mission they're advancing. Because what happens at an event doesn't stay in that room. It becomes programs, services, opportunities, and real life change. That is the impact we want to help you unlock. We want every organization to have the tools to create meaningful experiences, build lasting relationships, and raise more for its mission without the unnecessary complexity that too often comes with running an event. For our current customers, you can expect to hear much more from us as these features begin rolling out across the Funraise platform. We're incredibly excited to put them in your hands and to see what you accomplish with the team. And if you're new or considering Funraise and want to explore these event tools and everything else the platform can do, we'd love to show you. You can schedule a demo with our team and let's talk about what's possible for your organization. Again, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We can't wait to hear how these new features and tools will unlock more generosity for your organization.